Hey besties, better late than never. Today we're going to be doing my reading wrap for 2023. I am so excited. I've been working on this PowerPoint it's like nothing professional, but I've been working on it for a little too long, so finally finished it, and now I'm gonna present it to you, my reading of the past year. So buckle up, and I apologize in advance if the angle's weird. I had a really hard time finding a place to prop up the camera where I can also prop up my computer so you can really see what's going on. So bear with me, but yeah, let's get into my reading wrapped. I know, this isn't like the best angle you've ever seen. I don't really know how else to do this. There were other places that like maybe looked a little bit less awkward, but the lighting was really bad. So we're gonna do it here, and it's gonna be okay, because it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's about what's on the inside, the information that's gonna be coming out. Anyway, so this is my 2023 reading wrapped. In the year of 2023, I read a total of 50 books. Thank you. My goal, might I add, was 50 books. Ask me when I finished the last book. On New Year's Eve. So I did read a total of 50 books this year. They were in different formats. I guess you could say they were not all physical books, but we'll get into that. So the total pages that I read this year is a whopping 16,473 according to Goodreads. I've since heard that like Goodreads counts pages that like are not necessarily the actual story, so take that with a grain of salt, but approximately 16,473 pages were read in the year of 2023 for me. Putting it into numbers like that is crazy. Like, that's crazy to me. Next, the type of book. Now, I know some people don't think that audiobooks and stuff are considered reading, but in this household, they are. So keep it to yourself. But the types of book I read are physical on my Kindle and then audiobooks. So I read 23 physical books this year. I read 7 books on my Kindle. I don't remember when I got my Kindle, to be honest with you. It was in 2023, so that number probably would have been more on my Kindle had I had it for longer. But I also love reading physical books. I didn't get the Kindle to replace the physical books, but it definitely helps. And then I read or listened to 20 audiobooks. I never thought that I would be an audiobook person. I did discover that this past year. And my favorite books to listen to as audiobooks are thriller, mystery, suspense, that kind of stuff. Not really a big romance audiobook girly. So that is the breakdown of the different types of books that I read this year that add up to 50, because I double checked. This is where it gets a little, I just picked this myself basically. So I didn't really want to go through every single book and really determine what like tiny subgenre each book was in. So I just picked the main ones that basically were needed to bring this together, if that makes sense. So I had 5 top genres this year, overall genres. So we'll start at the top. I just put thriller, suspense, and mystery all together because they're all very similar to me in that category, like in my head. I read a total of 16 books from the thriller, suspense, mystery category. That is currently my favorite type of book, that genre, and I'm just obsessed. I'm obsessed. Next, we have a coming of age type book, and I read 4 of those. 4 of them. And I really enjoyed them. Actually, they were really good. So that was fun. Dystopian. This is something that I never was really into when I was younger, but we'll get more into that later. But I read a total of 8 dystopian books. And they were all really good. They were all really, really good. For romance, which is my highest category, I read 21 romance books this year. What can I say? Hopeless romantic at heart. And I do love romance books. But thriller / suspense / mystery is slowly taking its place. Shh, don't tell. And then the last book, really, I had nowhere else to fit it in. Like, it didn't fit any of these categories, so I had to put its own category. Humor. I read a book that was very, like, outside of anything that I would normally read. It was a book that I picked up from Goodwill I think I was gonna do like blackout poetry and then never did. So I read it instead. And it was really funny, but it fit into the humor genre. That's my genre breakdown of the year. Let me know if any of this surprises you, because some of it kind of surprised me. I definitely thought mystery was my highest one, but I should have known that romance was. Next, so I feel like I should preface this by saying I am not a very harsh rater. I rate a lot of books 5 stars, and my reasoning is basically just that I feel like they were good. Basically, like, if there wasn't anything, like, if I struggle to continue reading a book, it's probably not going to be a 5-star read. But if I, like, am consistently wanting to read it, and at the end I'm like, that was a good book, that's 5 stars for me. So this rating seems high for an average rating, but considering I rate so many books 5 stars, it's not that shocking. So my average rating last year, was a 4.44 stars out of 5. Let's get into a little more specifics and break down my ratings. So, as you can see here, like I just said, I give a lot of books 5 stars. Doesn't take that much to impress me. I did give 28 books a 5-star rating, and I stand by those. I do stand by them. I may not be a harsh rater, but the rating is just in my, like, it doesn't really matter. It's what I think. And so 28 books had 5-star ratings. 4 books, no, that's not right. 17 books got a 4-star rating. Those were also pretty good. I just, like, there must have been something that made me think, not a 5-star. 3-star rating, I gave 4 books a 3-star rating. The books that I rated 3 stars, I guess there just, like, wasn't that, like, there just wasn't a wow factor. And some of the 3-star books probably should have been 2-star books, but the reason they were 3-star books is because they just weren't better than that, I guess. That's basically it. And then I gave 1 book a 2-star rating, which we will get into later. I didn't give any books any 1-star ratings because I didn't read a single book that didn't at one point have me engaged, you know, or that, like, we'll talk later about the book that was rated 2 stars, but even that book, there were a few times where I was like, oh, but not enough to be any higher than that. So we'll come back to that, but that is my rating breakdown. Next, my biggest reading months were January and November, both with 10 books each. November really shocked me because I don't really remember reading that many books in November, but January of 2023 was a very bad month for me, and so it doesn't surprise me that I read 10 books. I honestly thought I read more than that because of how much time I spent reading, because I was so miserable and everything was awful because of my long-term sub job. But yeah, so I read 10 books in both January and November, making those my biggest reading months. I was gonna just do my top favorite book, but I realized that the books that I wanted to make I was gonna do my top 3 favorite books, but I quickly realized that the books I wanted to make my top 3 favorite were from series, so I figured let me just do series instead. So my top 3 favorite series of 2023, in third place, this one has a bit of a backstory. In third place is Last Survivors by Susan Beth Pfeffer. I might be butchering that, I apologize. This series, I listened to them as audiobooks, but this was a book from when I was younger that I used to read, and I could not for the life of me remember what it was called. And one day I stumbled back across it, and I decided to see if there was an audiobook because I was going to be doing some driving. And there was, and I really enjoyed it, so I listened to the other books in the series. The first book is called Life as We Knew It, and there are 4 books in the series, and originally I think I had only read the first one and maybe started the second one, but never finished it, but I was able to listen to all 4 of them as audiobooks, I think. Yeah. all 4 of them as audiobooks. But I really enjoyed it, and it was so fun to like go back to that time of my life when I was younger and I read them, because every time I would read something that I remembered, I was like kind of taken back to that time in my life. So it was really cool, and I really enjoyed reading that series, and it was a really engaging audiobook. I also listened to all of my audiobooks on 2x speed, so that definitely helps keep me engaged. These next 2, I'm not gonna lie, we're fighting for first place, and it kills me to put what I put in second place, but first place holds like a really special place in my heart. Okay, in second place, we have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I never read The Hunger Games when I was younger. I wasn't really into that whole dystopian thing, which these both are. And so I never read it like everyone that was my age, I feel like they did. Anyways, I never read the series, and I don't know exactly what brought it up, but my bestie Ellie has the first 3 books. And when I was going to be animal sitting at her house, we must have been talking about her bookshelf or something, and I was like, oh, maybe I should read like one of your, I made like a joke like, oh, I'm going to like look through your shelves to pick my next read or whatever. And anyways, we got to the point that she was saying that I should read the Hunger Games series. And I was very much like, I don't know about that. Didn't think I'd be into it. But I was like, I'll give it a shot. Besties, I was hooked instantly. So I almost read the entire first book while I was animal sitting for her. And then what's crazy is that before I even started reading the first book, my friend Campbell and I were at Goodwill, and the second and third book were there in like really good condition, and he convinced me to buy them. And I was like, what if I don't even like the first book? And he's like, no, you will. I did. So as soon as I finished the first book, I had the second and third book myself, so I read those. And then believe this, you guys, this is how you know that I love the series, because I chose to watch the movies. I paid money to rent the movies. I don't like movies. I don't watch movies. Movies are not my thing, but I paid money to get these movies to watch. I know. That's how good they were to me. And then, of course, you know, it just recently came out, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So I got that book. Well, it's crazy. I ordered it on Pango Books, but I physically could not wait for it to come. So I also got it on my Kindle, and I read it on my Kindle and finished it before the physical book even came in. But I wanted to have the whole series. I also ordered a copy of the first book too. So I had all hardcover, so I have the whole series now. But I read the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I really enjoyed the book. And then I went to the movie theater. You guys, I went to the movie theater and watched the movie. Now I fell in love. And I just love The Hunger Games. To this day, I still can't stop thinking about it all the time. I love The Hunger Games so much. And I love PETA. I love PETA. That's all there is to say. Team PETA. And if not, you're wrong. So, yeah. So, in first place for my favorite series of 2023, drumroll please. It is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I just want to give a shout out to Holly Jackson right now. Love you. Love your books. Love Five for Survive. Have a book from you pre-ordered coming whenever it gets released. The reappearance of someone Prince. You are an amazing writer, and I love you so much. And this book series is a masterpiece. Okay, I'm not someone that would reread books. Okay, back up. So I listened to these books as audiobooks, the whole series. That was the best decision of my life. Hearing it was just so amazing. But then I found out that the physical books had like mixed media, like actually on the pages, and I was like, oh my God, I have to have them. So I did ask for the box set for Christmas, including Killjoy, the prequel, and I got them. So I do have the whole series. So as I was saying, I'm not someone that really likes the idea of rereading books. I don't personally think that that's for me. However, I would reread this series. I also would reread this series, but I would especially reread the series just to experience the mixed media like in my hands for the first time ever. I cannot wait for the show to come out. Or movie, I don't even know. I'm obsessed, and it is the best thing ever. If you haven't read any of these series or listened to any of these series, you need to, because they will change your life. I know I'm late to the game on this one, but this will change your life if you haven't already. So please do. And Holly Jackson, love you. Now, I'm pretty sure I know what's coming next, and I feel like this could be a hot take. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, moving on. My least favorite book that I read. This book was rated 2 stars. It is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I'm really sorry about this because I know people raved about this book. That's why I got it. And I got this for Christmas years ago. Just got around to reading it in 2023. I think I got it for Christmas in probably like 2021. So I did have really high hopes. I've never felt more lost in a book. From the first page, I was so confused, and as you can see by my visuals here, I was so confused the entire time. And because it's not one of those, to me, it's not one of those books where you're kind of always like, huh, and then when it clicks, you're like, oh my gosh. It was more like a, huh, and then when it even kind of clicked, I was still like, oh. Like, I don't want to be confused the entire time. I'm okay with being kind of confused, and then it like picks up, and then I think it's one thing, and then it's like actually something else. But I don't want to spend the entirety of the book being confused, and I did. I feel like it deserves better. Like, I feel bad for making it my least favorite book, and I feel bad for rating it a 2. But like I said, even I didn't rate a single book a 1, because even in this book there were a couple times that I was like, oh, pieces like started to click and connect, but not enough. I spent the majority of the time being confused, and I just could not. I took everything in me to finish it. Yeah, I'm so sorry, E. Lockhart. Nothing personal, just wasn't for me. What better way to conclude a reading wrapped than with my favorite book of the entire year? So, especially drumroll now, please. My favorite book of 2023, without a doubt, this was the easiest decision of my life, is One of Us is Dead by Geneva Rose. Also, I hope it's Geneva. It could be Geneva. It might be Geneva. Now I feel stupid. I always say Geneva because to me that says Geneva. Now I feel really stupid. I'm so sorry. But anyways, the point is, One of Us is Dead by Miss Rose herself is the best book ever. And I listened to this book as an audiobook, and then I found the physical copy of it at Goodwill, and I literally snatched it up because I was like, you're coming home with me. You're my favorite book ever. This is a sign. This book, now, go ahead and read it as a physical book. I'm not saying not to, but I am saying that I recommend listening to it as an audiobook because it has a ton of different characters. And at first when I was listening to the audiobook, especially because I listened to my audiobooks at 2 times speed, I was really nervous that I wasn't going to be able to keep up with everybody. But each character has a different voice. Every single one. Like, distinctive different voice. And I've listened to plenty of audiobooks where that's not the case, and it's much harder because, like, even when the person's talking, it's like, it's just harder. It's harder to me. The different voices for each character are so perfect, and every second of this book I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I'm not like the best at like seeing things coming and like figuring out what the whole thing is, but I'm usually not like extremely off. I could listen to this book a million times again and still never be right. That's how thrown off you will be, but not in a way that you're confused the whole time. Let's not get those things mixed up. You're not going to be confused the whole time, but you're going to think you're right. And you're going to be so wrong, but it's going to feel so good to be so wrong because what you were thinking is not as good as what happens. I will never stop talking about this book. I will never not be obsessed with this book. If you take one thing from this video today, please, wherever you get your audiobooks from, place it on hold. Check it out. I don't care. Get your hands on this and read it. It will change your life. That being said, I have also listened to multiple books by her, and I've loved every single one. They've all been 5-star reads, I think. And they've all been audiobooks as well. She has amazing books. She also has a book called Perfect Marriage. That one's also really good. Didn't see it coming, the ending. It's amazing. It's amazing. Definitely check this one out. All right, besties, there you have it. That was my reading wrap for 2023. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry it took so long for me to get this out there. I was gonna try to do it last week, but I just it wasn't gonna be as good of quality, so I didn't wanna rush it. So I took a break this past week and gave myself time to just chill, and then I also worked on this so that it was much better for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any reading recommendations for me in the year of 2024, please feel free to comment them down below. I'm also finding myself in a bit of a reading slump. I think I'm on the outs of it, but if you have any tips for getting out of a reading slump, feel free to comment those down below as well. I'd also love to hear what your favorite book of 2023 was, and heck, tell me your least favorite one too, because we're all about being honest here, and it's okay to not like something. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please feel free to subscribe. I would love for you to stick around. I hope to do a lot of book content on my channel this year, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I think that's everything. So happy reading, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.